who we have as active.
Cool.
Good. We got a bunch of people over here that are still with us. Yay.
Hey.
Okay. Well, let me go on and introduce you. I'm sure that probably people will be here in a few seconds' time. I'm seeing them there, but it may be a moment before we start getting some people asking questions in chat.
That's
And,
totally
and,
fine.
and let me simply say that this presentation, and I mean, obviously Nancy's quite well is able to speak for herself. Let me go on and get her bio up here. I had the pleasure of meeting her by looking around for things that I thought would be helpful for me in my screenwriting goals. And I came across an entire body of work she has in terms of being a productive, being more creative. I mean, just hundreds of videos, interviews with media professionals, attorneys. And I've been very impressed that what I see of Nancy's work is that she really wants to help people that are creative capture the value of their work and be able to have it be an ongoing asset to them. A real sense of the beauty of art and commerce, of being able to make a living. And I'm, no promises that after this you'll be able to make a living, but that is very much her goal and a central concern, and that's just something I really admire. Let me go on and bring up my page of biographies here and look at what we have down here. It's probably more than we have time to read, because it's a pretty darn impressive collection of stuff. But let's see. And I encourage you to go back to the website and look at her biography. She's a writer, producer, founder of Nancy Fulton Meetups, which is where I came across her, and provides several live workshops every month for media creatives. And it's quite a body of work that you can go back, look at. And it's much of it has aged well, I will tell you. Delivers hundreds of hours of instruction worldwide at filmfundingclub.com. She's publishing books and making media for more than 30 years. You can find many of her fictional works as Andrea Stewart on Amazon.com. And some of that's what we're going to hear today about the idea of how to use Amazon to your advantage. Taught UCLA, Fortune 100 companies, written many book and magazine publications, John Wiley and Sons, and so on. Is there anything else I should say without burning up all our time we have here?
No, that pretty much covers it. It's just my focus is mostly helping creative professionals earn a good living from their work. And I think it's a investment. It's easier than people think, and it's a lot less stress than people think. And it's kind of my focus is always to make it so people have the opportunities they need to do the work they care the most about, because you kind of have to give yourself that opportunity. It's not, you can't always be sure that you're going to be able to find somebody to hire you to do your best work. But if you can monetize your own media, then you don't really ever have to worry about making a living.
Well, I'm going to go on and kind of step back a little bit, because there's a lot to cover. This is a very well thought out and I think clearly explained session. I've seen some of it in her work elsewhere, and I'm thrilled she's willing to bring it to us. She has a lot of integrity. I think she's got a great sense of humor, but she said that is not her core strength. She did not want to really get into doing that. And I said, well, how about these other things? And she said, oh, I can do that. And this, if you don't have a book in Kindle yet, or books, check back with me later. Again, I'm not going to sell you services, but I know people who are competent, who can and know what they're doing. This assumes you've got stuff out there. And I was so impressed with this presentation that I'm thrilled to offer it here. So with that, Nancy, I'm going to get out of your way. I'll be here if anything comes up, but why don't you take it away?
Great. Well, feel free to step in and ask questions if you see questions I don't address in the presentation. Also, you can always reach me at Nancy at nancyfultonmeetups.com. And if you want a copy of the slide set, I'll be glad to share it with you at the end of, just email me and you'll get a copy of it. So tonight we're going to be talking about selling your comedy in print. And my specific objective is to help make it easier for you to take the work that you do in comedy. Maybe you're doing live shows, or maybe you're doing stand-up, or maybe you've got a podcast or something, and I kind of want to talk about how you can take that content and move it into print, or move it into ebooks and so forth. So with that in mind, the first thing we're going to talk about is why on God's green earth you would want to take your content into Kindle books, which are ebooks on Amazon, or iBooks or Nook or any of the other ebook platforms, or turn them into print books, etc. And the reason to do that is because you want to earn more from your work. When you're a person that does stand up live, the hard part is you don't really have a way to monetize your media. If you're not actually face to face with people and performing, you're not going to actually earn much of a living, because that's how you make most of your money, is because you're doing stand up face to face with audiences, and you can't do that necessarily forever. The other thing is that at any given time, you can only really have one performance working with you, working for you at any given time. It's like, if I'm on stage doing this particular set, I'm not on stage someplace else simultaneously doing another set. Whereas when you turn that content into books, you do have a way to monetize it, even when you're not performing live. And the other thing is, you can use content that you create as books to build an audience over time. People may fall in love with your books and then decide to see you when you're doing presentations live, or follow you when you're doing podcasts. So you want to learn how to use books, just like you want to learn how to do podcasts, just like you want to be able to learn how to do film, like you want to be able to learn how to do stand-up, because it's all ways to sell your work. And that all comes down to you wanting to be able to do more of what you love for a living. If you're a creative professional, your objective is to do what you love for a living instead of doing things you don't love for a living. God knows most of us that are creative professionals could do 30 other things for a living. Like, we could be teaching school, or we could be working in a shop. There's all these things we could be doing, but we want to make a living from the work that we do. But in order to do that, you need to be able to sort of package and sell your work. Being able to find and grow your fan base is very important. And there's no easier or cheaper way to do that than through books. Books are the cheapest way to, and one of the easiest ways for you to find new fans. It also, when people like your books, it's very likely that they'll decide that they want to book you to do gigs. You get a lot of speaking engagements when people like your books. Like if you think about Irma Bombeck, that lady, and we're all old timers here. Irma Bombeck made a lot of money from writing books and then going on and doing speaking engagements. And that's true for almost every single comic that you know. So successful comics do books. Successful comics that do books get more speaking engagements. The next reason to do it is because it's easy. It really is easy. It is very easy. People are going to lie to you and tell you how hard it is to publish books. It is not hard. It is easy. It is ridiculously easy. It's about as easy as printing on your printer. So I think you'll find that we're going to walk through that, and hopefully that'll be what you discover. Publishing a book only takes a couple of hours. Given that you have written a book, actually making it available for sale takes a couple of hours. It really does take a couple of hours. It might not turn up on Amazon for a couple of days, but the part you have to do is a couple of hours. And finally, there's no reason not to learn how to do book publishing. There's no reason not to do it. You might as well. It's easy, it's fast, and it's a good way to take content that you've delivered previously in a variety of different mechanisms and turn it into something that's ubiquitously available worldwide through Amazon or Nook or any of the other platforms that books are available through. Now, question is, how do you do it? And I'm going to walk through the general process. It's very straightforward, and you can decide what kind of books you want to write, and you can decide, the choice of what you choose to write can have a lot to do with what you enjoy writing and the kind of content you enjoy reading, and what feels like it would be really easy to do. So you can pretty much write your books in any word processor that you like. Word, Google Docs, Pages, or whatever. There's like a million different software applications you can create a book in, because fundamentally you just need a bunch of text. Okay. Now, I personally write in Google Docs. If you've got a Gmail account and you go to drive.google.com, you automatically have access to Google Docs, and it's basically Microsoft. It's like Microsoft Word. It's available anywhere you are. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the notes. So if you've got a Gmail account, you log into it, you go to drive.google.com, you can launch Google Docs, and you can create your book content there. The other thing is you don't have to create a lot of text. Toddler books. If you think about like Dr. Seuss, Dr. Seuss wrote very short books. There weren't a lot of words. He had good pictures, but the books were really short. So you could choose to write toddler books, And if you haven't read toddler books, or if you haven't read books for kids, they have some of the funniest books on earth are kids books, like Junie B. Jones. When you get a chance, if you've never read a kids book that you like, go read Junie B. Jones books. Oh my God, that child is the most demented child on earth. So, and the books, those books are incredibly short. And you know what? The short books sell for as much as the long books sell. So choose to write the book you want. Some people have this idea, oh, I have to write 100,000 words before it's a book. No. Short books are just fine. Short books do real good. And short stories can even do really good. So, you know, the trick is just really to write the level of content that you care the most about. And in fact, I kind of recommend, if you're an adult and you're writing books, you know, in the old days with print, in the old days, like the 1980s or whatever, a book was like 100,000 words, you know, like Stephen King books, when you used to buy them, were like 100,000 words, right? But you don't have to write 100,000 words now. 40K to 50K is a perfectly good book for adults. People like that length. You can write longer, you can write shorter, suit yourself. Now, in order to, once you've gotten the book, you know, you've actually created the text and you kind of like it. When you want to format it, you can use a tool called Kindle Create, which is free. And all you need to do is Google Kindle Create. Kindle Create is a free app created by Amazon that lets you format books. And you put Kindle Create on your computer, and then you double click it to start it up. And then it says, what kind of book you want to make. And you can make an illustrated book, or you can make a just a regular book, you know, like a normal book. So go ahead and download Kindle Create. Did I mention that it's free? And start goofing around with it. You'll see that it basically lets you identify the chapters, and it will create a table of contents for you, and that's pretty much all you need. Alternatively, or in addition, you can also create draft books, format your books in on a free website called draft2digital.com. And if you take a look at draft2digital.com, the reason you might want to use that is because, one, it has more options for formatting your book. So the Kindle Create, you know, it doesn't have as many like pretty little icons. So when you get a chance, go goof around with Draft2Digital's solution. I think that you will very much enjoy Draft2Digital. Check out both of them. Did I mention they're both free? They're both free. They're both easy to use, and you might as well learn how to use them, because why not go ahead and turn your content into stuff you can sell. The other thing you could choose to do is go to canva.com. And if you're creating an illustrated book, you might decide the easiest way to do that is to go to canva.com and actually lay the book out there. And if you haven't used canva.com, this is another thing you should go look at right now. Canva.com, you can use it for free, or you can use it for $10 a month. And Canva.com will let you create books, an infinite number of books. It will let you build your website. Like, you can build a really full-featured website in about an hour, like a really sexy-looking website, like so many graphics. And it comes with a huge number of free sounds and videos and resources. It's like just so wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, and it's great for if you're a person that wants to create kids' books, right? So, you know, go ahead and check out canva.com. Then the next thing you're going to have to do is you're probably going to have to create a book cover. Now, you can create a book cover if you feel so inclined in canva.com. It has a whole bunch of templates for creating book covers. You should mess around with that. It is way too much fun. Or if you choose to, you can go buy a cover, a very professional cover from getcovers.com. Getcovers.com, you basically tell an artist what kind of cover you want. I would recommend that you link to 3 or 4 examples of covers that you like for similar books, and they will make you one. And they will send it to you, and you will be able to use it for the cover of your book, whether it's an ebook or it's a print book. So getcovers.com. So once you've got the cover and you've got the text and it's all formatted, the only thing you have to do next is sell it. Now, you can sell it on Amazon directly just by going to kdp.amazon.com. So instead of going to www.amazon.com, go to kdp.amazon.com. Log in with your normal email address, and you can click create a book. And normally you end up creating like an ebook, because why not? And then you fill in the blanks. It's like 3 pages of questions, all of them straightforward. And then you get to set the price. And if you set it if you set the price to more than $2.99, you get 70% of every single sale. So every single time a book sells, you get 70% of that amount. If you only want to distribute on Amazon, just do kdp.amazon.com. So you don't have to worry about going to Draft2Digital or anything like that. You can, but you don't have to. So, and I just mentioned in passing, if you decide to distribute only on Amazon, there's an option called Kindle Select, and that means that they will pay you every time somebody even reads 1 page of your book. So, unlike they just have this sort of reading program that Amazon has this thing, I think it's called Kindle Select, or I can't remember what it is. Yeah, Kindle Select. So if you put your book in Kindle Select, then they make it so their subscribers can read the book and you get paid by page. And that means if somebody starts the book and doesn't finish it, you still get paid for those pages. And a lot of people, did I mention they're making 6 figures a year? I probably should have put that first, huh? I should have probably said, by the way, people are making $100,000, $200,000 a year this way. Now, in order for that to happen, they're basically writing lots of books. So you might, the cool thing is comics, because we tend to be very prolific, or you guys tend to be very, very prolific, it's very easy for you to write lots of books. It's not like there's not always something you could be writing about. So the being able, just so you know, that's like, it can be very big money. And there's a Facebook group you might want to join, which is called 20 Books to 50K. And if you Google Facebook, if you Google 20 Books to 50K, you will find that there's a whole bunch of people up there, and they talk about advertising, they talk about promotion, and they talk about how they reach 5 or 6 figures a year. If you want to make a lot of money in writing, it's a great group to join. It doesn't cost that much. So the next thing is, if you want to publish and sell your book. Now, I mentioned in passing, if you go to kdp.amazon.com, it will let you do ebooks. It will also let you do print books, and it will also let you do hardcover books. So there's kind of a good reason to do kdp.amazon.com, because it sort of offers all of those options all at one time. And that's not something that is necessarily easily available across all other platforms. Now, Draft2Digital, I mentioned in passing, it actually will let you make your stuff available for sale on Amazon, and simultaneously will also let you make it available on iBook, which is Apple's bookstore, Barnes & Noble Books, which is called Nook, and a whole bunch of other platforms. And we'll also let you sell it into libraries. And in addition to all of that, which is pretty amazing, they'll also go ahead and they also are starting to do print books as well. So when you get a chance, take a look at Draft2Digital. It literally is, you upload the manuscript, you identify what the chapter headings are, it builds the table of contents, you upload a cover, you press publish, and it is out there. It is done. And not only that, here's the other thing, you can change it anytime you want. Anytime you don't like your book on kdp.amazon.com or Draft2Digital, you just can you can just literally upload a new file. It is totally nobody minds when you do that. So it's, it's easy. People sometimes say, well, if I publish a book, what if I make a mistake? Yeah, it's fine. Just upload a new copy. It'll be fine. And some people say, well, if I publish a book, and I make it available, what if it goes badly, or it's like I pressed publish and now I want to change things. And it's like, well, unless you've been advertising your book, no one's really going to see it. So don't worry about that. We're going to talk about how to make it so people can see your book and market your book in just a second. But I think people have this notion that publishing a book is like it was in the 1980s, where it's like a huge decision and it's really not. It's not that at all. You can easily publish a book, and you can modify it, you can change it, you can revise the cover, you can change the blurb, you can change all that stuff. Nothing is poured in concrete, so it's pretty risk-free to publish. If you don't, there's a couple of other options for selling books that you might find useful, and particularly if you want to be able to create books that you can give away free to people who go to your events, or if you run classes in comedy or whatever, and you want to be able to make it so people can, you can have like little textbooks you want to distribute, check out gumroad.com. Gumroad's entirely free. You can basically upload the PDF file, stick a name on the darn thing, and stick a price on it, and then people will be able to buy it. The cool thing about Gumroad is you get their email address whenever somebody buys. So if you give the books away free after an event, because you do a comedy club event or whatever, and you say, hey, visit my website. And on your website, you've got a link that says, hey, get my book on 50,000 ways, the I Hate to Garden book, which is, is a manual for people who hate to garden that teaches them how to garden. And it's written in a comedic style. Well, whatever books you want to give away through your website, if you make them available through gumroad.com, you get their email address, and if you want to email them later, you can. And the reason that's important is that it's and you can also send out emails to them like newsletters and so forth. So Gumroad lets you sell stuff, it lets you give stuff away free, and it lets you send newsletters. And did I mention it's free to use? If you sell something through the platform, I think they by default keep 10%. But I think you are really truly going to love Gumroad. Finally, there's one called BookFunnel. And BookFunnel will also let you give books away for free, and it will also collect email addresses, and they also have a whole bunch of marketing partnerships that you can engage in. So what I just ran through is soup to nuts how you publish a book, right? You write the book in Word or Google Docs, you format it in Kindle Creator, draft to digital, you get a cover from getcovers.com, and you can publish or sell it through kdp.amazon.com, draft2digital.com, gumroad.com, or bookfunnel.com, right? Very straightforward. Now, let's talk about the cost. So writing is free. I'm assuming that you're going to write. The cover is going to cost $10 to $300. If you're getting it from getcovers.com, you're going to pay about $40. If you're you can spend more on your cover, which I suggest you strongly not do, by buying one on Fiverr.com. I kind of like Get Covers better, and I also like if you want, you can go to canva.com and learn how to create your own covers, and that costs you $10 a month, but it will also launch your website for you. And it will also create all your TikToks and marketing reels for you. And it has millions of clip videos and clip art and all kinds of other stuff. So Canva is a good investment. And formatting, free, because we already talked about draft to digital, and we also talked about Kindle Create. And publishing is free. And if you want to use bookfunnel.com, you pay $10, but you're paying the $10 because you're getting a bunch of marketing resources as well. I think you can start using BookFunnel for free, but you probably want to pay them the $10. And then how much can you earn? Well, if you're releasing the book on Amazon, you're going to, and it's under 99 cents, then you're going to get 30%. But if it's over 99 cents, you're going to get 70% of the sale when it comes to an ebook. On the other platforms like Draft to Digital, you're earning, and Draft to Digital and Gumroad and so forth, you're getting 65 to 90% of the sale. And for print books, you're getting 20% to 60%. A lot of people want to do print books. I think it's a good idea to do print books if you want to do them. I think that a lot of people really like print books. I'm hampered by the fact that I totally hate print books. And it's so funny because I am a voracious reader, but I totally hate print books because I lose them, and I don't ever lose them when they're on my Kindle. So I think all of those things are, hopefully all of those things are useful to know. But I'm just saying, feel free to do as many print books as you want. Another question that I get on a regular basis is, how do I get good reviews? And as if it's a mystery. And I can understand why it's a mystery, because I remember when it was a mystery to me, but then I figured it out. Now I'm going to tell you because it's so easy. Okay, here's how you get good reviews. One, stop trying to get feedback from family. They are not your customers. Do you understand? Even if they love you. I mean, if you and your wife get along really well and she's kind of your writing partner or your husband or whatever, feel free to share your work with them. But do not, in my personal opinion, is a complete waste of time and will completely distract you from getting any work done at all. If you show it to your children, or if you show it to your friends, or if you show it to your family, or if you show it to, just stop. Just stop. It is a waste of time. And the reason is because they're not your customers. They don't pay, by and large, they're not paying for the kind of content. So their feedback is not valuable, right? Let's say, for example, you were trying to sell elephants, or you were trying to sell carpenter tools or whatever, any kind of thing, right? Well, would you go to your wife and say, she's not a carpenter, she doesn't build anything, but you're going to go ask this person, hey, what do you think of my new hammer that I just designed, or this new saw I built? You're not going to bug those people because they're not a carpenter. Well, if you are somebody that's selling comedy, you've got a niche that you serve, and you want people who actually pay for that content. They like it so much that they pay for it. If you're a science fiction writer, you want people to pay for science fiction content. If you're a mystery writer, you want people to pay for science fiction content, or sorry, mystery content. It's just so much. Like, once you stop trying to get feedback from those people, your life gets 50,000 times better. Because they're distracting. And the advice that they give you, first of all, it's a hassle. You usually have to chase them down and make them read stuff they don't want to read. And then second of all, it's a waste of time because their feedback just screws you up. Go find real people. Second thing is, if you start with content that you've delivered live that worked, you can do that. You don't have to. But if you do, you'll find that because you put it in front of an audience and you sort of know what works when you're delivering the content live, you'll find it really easy to create written content that works too, right? There's that works thing where people look, it's always going to get a laugh. Like the punchline always lands. So if you're doing live events and they work really well, and you've got a set of jokes that work really great, turning that into a book is a really great idea. And sometimes just one of your bits might end up being a whole book, and another one of your bits might be a whole book. So if you have a 10-minute set or a 15-minute set, you might have 4 or 5 books in that one set. The next thing you can do, there's a site called Authors XP, and they have this thing called a beta reader. A beta reader is somebody who likes the kind of content that you're writing, and like mysteries or romances or whatever, and they like to interface with artists, with writers, so they're the kind of people who pay for content in a particular genre, and they like giving early feedback to writers. So if you go to Authors XP, I think you give them like $100, and then they do a blast to their mailing list of beta readers, and beta readers who find your blurb interesting say, okay, yeah, I'd like to read the book, and you send it to them. They read through it, they give you notes, and then when you implement the notes, you can advertise for new beta readers or send it back to the same beta readers. I like to advertise for new beta readers because I want new eyes, and they will give you the feedback. Yeah, the problems that were mentioned by the first set of beta readers, you'll have fixed those problems, and the next set of beta readers will just think your work's amazing. So beta readers are what you want to give you feedback on your work. Beta readers, not your friends, not your neighbors, not your family, none of that. The next thing you can choose to do is give your work away free on your website before you decide to start selling it. So let's say, for example, I am Seinfeld. Let's see, I'm trying to think of one of his good bits. Seinfeld has Seinfeld has a lot of really great bits, but he's got one on the post office, right? So let's say he's got a really great comedy set on the post office, and let's say he decided to write sort of a fiction novel about life at the post office, where people come in and somebody says, every day, I come in and there's a picture of a felon, a known felon, on the 10 most wanted list, and he's right ahead of me. And I think, wow, someday, as a post office worker, I think to myself, wow, one day, that guy's going to come in and he's going to want to buy stamps, and I am going to be able to pick up the phone and call the police. And what happens if that actually happens, right? So you could write a book based upon that that basic bit. When you do the presentation, when you're talking live to audiences, you say, hey, if you really like my show, I recommend that you go to my website, www.mycomedy.com, and there's a free book that you can get that kind of goes along with some of the themes in this thing. You might really like it. This achieves two objectives. One, in the book, you can ask people, if you really like this book or you really hated this book, please send me an email. I'd love to know your thoughts. And that feedback can be very valuable to you, because that's a person who likes your comedy and they actually cared enough about it to go get your book. If they give you feedback, that is the best kind of feedback. It also adds them to your mailing list so that you can reach out to them when you do a next live comedy event, and also when you publish your book, make the book available for sale, and also when you have other free books that you want them to check out and give you feedback on. So giving your link away to people that come into your audiences is a great investment. Giving your work to beta readers and folks who actually buy the content you sell is a really great idea, because what happens a lot of times is they'll give you the notes to make the work actually really good. And then after that, if they really liked it, when you make it available for sale on Amazon, you can send out a mailing to them, to all the beta readers you liked. Hey, it's available on Amazon, and they can go and give it a positive review. Now, I have to be clear, Amazon doesn't allow you to actually pay beta readers, and it doesn't it doesn't allow you to pay reviewers. So when you do these are good reviews that you get from your beta readers. They weren't paid you paid the $100 to the service to send out an email to collect beta readers, but the beta readers didn't get any kind of payment or reward for helping you. And if they review your book on Amazon, that's totally legitimate, and Amazon won't ban you. If you pay your reviewers, you will get banned. Amazon hates that. And they'll also wipe out all of your reviews and boot you off the site, so you can't ever sell anything through Amazon again. So don't do that thing. All right, let me go ahead and go to the next one. Great. So kdp.amazon.com, if you go check it out, you notice that you're going to log in with the same exact email address that you use to normally log in to buy books on Amazon. It's just another Amazon website. And you'll see that it gives you the ability to create ebooks, and it gives you the ability to create paperbacks, and it gives you the ability to create hardcovers. All right. And you can even create series using the tools that are on kdp.amazon.com. This is, I mentioned in passing, this cover is a cover created by getcovers.com. So that's pretty amazing if you think about it. That is a pretty spicy little cover there. And it's not actually spicy, but it's a good cover, right? I mean, $40, can't go wrong. And I got it for that amount. I got the print version and the ebook version. Cannot go wrong. Now, we talked about Draft to Digital as one of the tools we can use for formatting books and selling books. It's Draft to Digital, if you just want a one-stop shop for formatting and publishing and getting money, Draft to Digital is a good thing. And when I said it had sort of better layouts, look, it's got this little thing right here. Isn't that cute? That little icon right there. And it's got nice fonts. And if you look here, you can see that it's got, for every genre, it's got different templates that you can use. And it lets you put a drop cap. I know it sounds stupid. Like, who cares about this minutia? But it's nice to see something that you've written look pretty. So it's got the drop cap for the beginning of sentence, and it's just nice. So when you get a chance, check out Draft to Digital. Getcovers.com, again, I've already talked about them. They're nice. They're straightforward. I would recommend, if you decide to buy a cover from them, provide them with several examples of the kind of cover that you want, and they should get back to you. You can have infinite revisions, but I would recommend that if you don't get what you want after the second or third revision, say thank you, and then buy a new cover, and say basically you want the same cover. And because I feel sorry for these people, because sometimes they'll do 3, 4, 5 revisions for like $40. That's just not, somehow that seems immoral. So and they're doing their best. It's not like they're not doing their best. It's just you and them don't have a meeting of the minds. So when you get a chance, use getcovers.com and be nice to the Get Covers people. Sometimes what I do is, if I make them do like 5 revisions, I'll say, look, I'm going to pay you $40 more, but I want another revision. I'll just give it to you in a tip. But I feel like I've had good results from them mostly because I treat them really nice. And then finally, canva.com. If you're going to be laying out kids' books, canva.com is really nice. And even if you just want to create pretty PDFs, canva.com. Did I mention that you can do websites? The websites thing is a big deal because you want to do this is the best way to build websites that there is right now. Cool. So as we sort of get toward the end, I want to mention it's not rocket science. That's the thing. I think if you are a person of a certain age, so I will confess that I'm like 58. So I remember publishing in the old days. This is not that, right? Publishing in the old days, you have to go to a publisher, they have to accept your work, and you think to yourself, wow, there still are publishers in the world, and I should sell my book to a publisher, and self-publishing isn't real. People self-publishing are the ones making $100,000, $200,000 a year, right? Some of them can make that over the course, they start making that amount of money after the first 2 or 3 years. They might start out the first year making $40K, but because they continuously write more books and because they're aggressively marketing books and they're marketing series of books, their income climbs dramatically. You do not have that same freedom when you're working with a publisher. When you're working with a publisher and you're Hillary Clinton or you're I'm trying to think of like a conservative person, it'll come to me, Richard Nixon, and you go to a publisher, then they're giving you a huge advance, and you're probably never going to get any more money than the advance that they offer you. The advantage to working with a publisher in that case is the advance. But people aren't going to give you an advance. And having a publisher involved in tying up your rights to drama that you don't want, especially if you're a comic. So self-publishing is better. I know it sounds stupid. Self-publishing is better. You earn more faster with self-publishing. And if you don't believe me, go check out 20 Books to 50K. And there's thousands of writers on that forum who will tell you that that's true. It's much easier than you expect to actually do the publishing. It's fast, it's easy, it's friendly. There's no reason not to do it. Start experimenting with it right away, and plan to create 2 or 3 or 4 books. And there's tricks for marketing it, but since you're a comic and you should be marketing your work anyway, there's no reason for you not to market your live performances just at the same time that you're marketing your books. Cool. So this is, if you go to NancyFultonMeetups.com, you'll see my website. And if you click around, you'll see that there's links that go to my video library. And the reason I mention that is because I have a bunch of workshops that talk about publishing books. And some of them talk about how to use AI to help you write more quickly. Some of them talk about how to get pictures, using stock image sites, or creating them in Midjourney, or how to use Canva to create websites. And there's a whole bunch of stuff up there about publishing. There's a whole bunch in there about publishing podcasts. And it's all of $18 a month or $50 for 6 months or something crazy. But when you get a chance, go check it out. So it's and you can also just buy individual workshops if you feel so inclined. But I recommend that you it's a free trial, so go ahead and sign up for a free trial. Risk the $18, and if you don't like, you can cancel in 3 days. And during the free trial, you can check out all of the workshops that are available. All right, and I call it filmfundingclub.com because that will take you directly to the video site, because I cover writing, publishing, filmmaking, and podcasting, and running events, event making and course delivery. Great. So you want to come back on, Rob, and we'll start working through these questions, or you don't have to come on if you don't want. But
no, I'm here, and I'll be happy to do that. We've got a couple here. You can probably see them for yourself, but let me. I
don't know how to make my screen stop sharing things, so
I can help you with that.
Yeah, make it unhappy.
I think I can do that here. There we go.
Great.
And you're center stage now, and we can actually even tuck away your visuals. I think we can pin them to the corner.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
So the first question we had, I got to bring her back up. Where'd it go?
Yeah, this, like, I saw some questions going by and I didn't know. Also, feel free. I don't know if you can make it available so people can just download that write up I did.
You
Like
betcha.
the slide
Yeah,
sheet. They might
I
as well have the slides in. If you say it's okay.
absolutely be happy to do that. Let's see here. Reopen. I'm trying to get it on screen here. It just had vanished on me there.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Oh, here it is, right here.
Or people can email me for it.
Someone who was wondering, if they've been doing blogging, how much do they need before they really have enough to make it worthwhile?
People release books that are like, you know, 10,000 words. I just read somebody who wrote like a 2,000 word story and released it as a short story, and it's turned out to be for 99 cents, and it's turned out to be a real moneymaker. So it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that long. It's kind of like how tall should a dog be? Well, I don't know. It depends on the dog. Chihuahuas are short. Great Danes are big. Are you writing So I don't think and it's also what your customers want. And actually, here's an important thing I kind of want to put in. And you and I touched on it when we had our call a few days ago,
Right.
but it's one of my huge memes. It's like critically important to me, and it's something I reemphasize. There is this notion. So many of us that are content creators, especially if we grew up and we're working, before 2000 or before 2010, we have this notion that what we do is we put out a bunch of content and then we try to get discovered. We're hoping that we're going to get discovered and somebody's going to give us the big show that we're going to have on television, or somebody's going to see our brilliance and they're going to hire us to write a movie, or they're going to book us, for Madison Square Garden or whatever. So that's not this world that you're in now. You do not live in that world, okay? That world, she be dead. No, dead. So don't think about that anymore. You don't want to get discovered. You know who has to discover you? The people, your peers. So we've been taught to look up, and to look for somebody to discover us. And we do a whole bunch of live shows, and we do a whole bunch of blogs, we do a whole bunch of stuff. And our hope is that somebody will come in and, Daddy Moneybags is going to come in and give us some sort of payment for creating content for them. And they're going to own the content, but we're going to get paid and we're all going to be so happy. This does not exist for the most part. It can happen, but when it does happen, it happens because you already have a paying audience. So the reason that writing books is good for you, the reason that doing events is good for you, the reason that doing podcasts is good for you is because you want to get your message, your little flags out into the world, or hooks, like I think of them as hooks in the water. You want to get 100 or 200 hooks in the water if at all possible, or at least 50 or 60 into the water if at all possible, so that people can find that, latch onto you, and become your follower or your fan. Because if that guy does that and he gives you $20 a year, that's a lot of money. If you have 1,000 people giving you $20 a year, that's $20,000. If you have 10,000 people that follow you and are willing to give you $20 a year, that's, what is that? $200,000. You understand? Your objective is to get to the 1,000 and get to the 10,000. That's your objective. If you want to be rich and you want to be successful and you want to have complete creative freedom, your objective is not to look up. It's to look out. It's to look down. It's to find your people. And there's a million different ways to do that. And if you change your focus from looking up to looking out, and really valuing all the quote unquote little people, all the normal people, all the individual people that actually like you, you'll have a much easier time publishing and a much easier time promoting. So when it comes to your blog, what you have to ask yourself is, what content can you create that people are really going to love? And they don't have to love it the first time you write it. You can gather up 10 of those pieces, put it together like an Irma Bombet book. I mean, her chapters, if you look back at those books, I think they were like 80,000 words, and you could do a 40,000 word one now, which might only be 10 of your articles or 15 of your articles. And that's a perfectly reasonable book to make available. And you can first start by marketing it to people that are on your blog. And then you can start running ads to the book on Amazon, or you can start promoting it, create a free link to it on gumroad.com and start running ads to it on Facebook, which might only cost you 30 cents per new download, which means 30 cents per customer. So when you get a chance, take a look at, so just think in terms of those concepts, and then it'll be easier for you to figure out what content you should create and experiment, because you don't know when you first start creating content what's going to work. It varies from time to time. All right, let's go ahead and see what else there is.
And a tag on that is there's even a short form. I've just started experimenting this myself. Amazon has a thing called Vella. Is it Vellum or Vella?
Actually, I would recommend, the thing about Vella, you can start doing it, but the problem is people get really discouraged because they don't promote it, and they make you can't actually buy the books. They make you buy tokens, and then you use tokens to buy the books. And the thing is that nobody likes the tokens thing. So I'd recommend that you do books first. I think if you like that kind of short fiction, you might want to do Gumroad, because you can sell individual articles. You can even sell memberships on Gumroad. So you can say, sign up for my mailing list. And that's the same as Vella. I didn't want to interrupt you, but Vella might go away pretty quick. So I didn't want you to recommend it.
No, thank you. That's just it. That's why you're here.
Yeah,
and
sorry.
Somebody asked about Amazon. If you have stuff there, what are the best ways to market? I know you have an entire presentation on this over on your site, and we have about 5 minutes left. So you want to offer a couple of quick comments other than to say you treat this in depth elsewhere?
So here's the thing. If you have books on Amazon, so here's what sucks about Amazon. First of all, they're the evil empire, and they're evil. Not to say that we don't let them sell our books, but they're evil. So when you sell a book through Gumroad, or you sell a book, or you make a book available for free through BookFunnel, you get the email address of the person, and then they're your customer, right?
Wow.
And some people actually do Patreon's kind of the same thing, right? So some people make their books available through Patreon, and in fact, some people are now doing crowdfunding campaigns. So they're a writer, they've got like 3 mysteries, and people really love them, and they say, hey, I'm doing I'm going to be writing a new mystery, and if you want to support me and you want to get a signed copy of the hardback free, give me $20 here or $50 here. And those people are making $10,000, $20,000 for a new book, because their fans want the book and they want the signed copy. And $20 if you're getting a good hardcover is not much, The reason I mentioned that is that Amazon's not like that. So the hard thing is that what you can do is you can go to Facebook.com, create yourself a little Facebook page, post information about where people can buy the book and what's great about it, and then click the boost button. And what happens is you basically get to target who you want the book to be seen by, and you can target by other writers that are similar. So if I was writing about housekeeping humor, I might target Irma Bombeck readers, or like 20 people that write that kind of literature, and then my book advertisement would be seen by those people, and I could drive them to Amazon where they could buy it. But also, a lot of people are making a lot of money on TikTok. They post little 7 to 17 second advertisements in effect about their book, where they talk about what it's about, and it makes money. There's a Facebook group called Book Talk where you can look into it. They're thinking about banning TikTok, so I don't know if I'd go straight there. On the other hand, people are making $5,000, $10,000 a month when they advertise there if they hit their market. So, and you're a comic, so you might have better luck hitting that market than most folk. So hopefully that answers your question. There's a bunch of different ways. There's a huge number of ways to market on your books on Amazon and market your books elsewise. I go into great detail on that.
To kind of back up a little bit on something, and I think most of us would love to hear more on marketing, so I don't want to crowd that out, and there are many times. But advice on, if you're something out to a beta reader, how long to give that person or that group before you start?
I usually here's the thing, they're doing me a favor, so I send out the book, and I actually send them the doc file, because a lot of them are actually, several of the people that I've had edit my books are actually professional editors. They just, or they're English majors or other writers, and they'll go through, turn on track changes, and they'll make the changes in the text, and I can just approve them. It's crazy. some of them just want to go basically give you basic notes. So I kind of go with whatever people want to do. And if they don't get back to me, I just blow them off and go on. And if I didn't get enough beta readers the first time, I go spend another $100 and I buy myself more beta readers. But I don't, generally speaking, they usually are going to get back to me within a couple of weeks if they really want to do the beta reading. Otherwise, they won't. And I just don't bother. I don't chase people up. I just go, it's fine with me. I don't care. There's a million beta readers in the world. I think it's nice that they wanted to read my book, and sometimes they're not giving you feedback because they don't like it. So why poke that bear? That's annoying. It's like, I don't want your feedback if you don't feel like giving it to me. It's probably going to be negative,
Well, Nancy, it's been delightful having you here. I encourage those of you that are watching to check out her meetup, her film funding club. The videos there, I've watched a bunch of them. I've got notes. I've been working on some of her ideas, and it's just really, really helpful. So I'm glad you're here with us. And
this has been a great event. You've had some really great people on. I learned a lot, actually, and I think that this format you have, where you have a lot of you run a series of speakers back to back, is amazing. And I personally realize what hard work it is, but I think it's incredibly valuable. And I think it's because it makes you part of a creative community, and you're not just thinking about creative stuff for like an hour and then going back to your real life. This is like, several hours of creative content. You get your head, and you're also seeing people that do it and are making money. So it's different than just going to a group where people are all starting out. These are people that actually make a living. And so they do tell you, oh yeah, it's easy, straightforward. Yeah, sure. This is what you do. This is what you do, because they know how to do it.
Well, I appreciate your clarity and the sense of being able to break things down, and the visuals are nice. So
you're sweet.
I'll make sure they get out there, and that's okay. Now, if I put them on the website, you want them password protected for just this group?
No, so feel free. I mean, the thing is, it's like the content that's there is it's enough to be useful. If your brain works this way, feel free to Google away, and if you can do it by yourself, do it by yourself. If you get stuck, go visit my website, and then it'll help you out. But it's not the case also that slide deck that I created, canva.com, that $10 I spent on canva.com, you know how you make a list of things you're going to get rid of, like, because you can't, like, do I need my Hulu subscription? It's costing more every day. Canva, I would pay more for it. That is how good Canva is, because that slide set and all of that artwork came from Canva, right? It is the best investment you will make in being able to create marketing material, websites, book covers, downloadable PDFs. And I really wish comics would do more of it. I hate it. I was telling you, I hate going to a show. I don't care about the guy's name when he comes up. John coming up. And I'm like, well, I'm drinking, so I didn't write that guy's name down. And then he walks off the stage and he hasn't told me his website and he hasn't told me his name again. And I go, well, so if I truly loved you, how was I supposed to show you? I was supposed to hurl money at the stage? Like I want to give you more money, but there is no way to do that. But a lot of people who see your work across media may really, really, really want to give you money, but you're not giving them a way to give you money. If you have a website and you've got books on it for sale, they can give you money, but they can't do it if there's nothing to buy. Like, I don't understand how people get, you're not getting rich because nobody can give you money. It's a problem. So
well, I appreciate your idea of having capturing a performance in a way that it yields an ongoing return. And I think you said hiring a decent camera person, maybe even arrangements for your own space. I mean, every time I talk to you, I have all these notes. I mean, all your years and all your ideas. I'm just so glad you're with us.
You're so sweet. I mean, it's nice of you to say. I would say if you want to be able to book your own comedy clubs, peerspace.com. You can, not even comedy clubs, but you can rent locations all across the United States, but especially around here, and it doesn't cost anything. So if you want to be able to set up your own comedy nights, get 5 other writers, book a location, and then you're going to be able to put up your own comedy show, serve wine, serve cheese, and people have a great time. It's so cheap, and it's such a good idea. It's like, because that's the thing, a lot of times comics, even when they're performing live, they don't get paid. or they get paid like, $20 or something. It's like real money is out there, you know? So which one? So Mary asked, which is what site?
Oh, what's that site about? Well, they lag. So
I think it's peerspace.com is the one I was talking about before you rent locations. Anyway, I've taken up too much of your time, and I'll hang out for a little while later to see you got next.
By the same token, you've done more than your share. So I'm so glad you're with us. I look forward to continuing to work with you on other events, and
I hope so too. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think you're an excellent moderator too. You're like really, and I love to. This is an interesting new platform. I haven't used it before. I usually use Zoom, but this is nice. All right.
All right, I'm going to mute the mic so you don't hear my wife's dogs. But
I like your dogs.
Say goodbye to everybody. We'll be back at the top of the hour with 4 columnists who write funny stuff. I see some of them over in the chat area, so I know we've got some of these folks here, and look forward to hearing what they have to say about the business and how they would create their work and get it out there. So thanks again, Nancy. You'll be hearing from me. You take care.
Ciao.
Hello there. We'll be moving into the top of the hour here in just a couple of minutes. So hang in there and follow the screen prompts and we'll get you going. Okay? Thanks.